Welcome to the Juggling Mind and Money podcast with Steve Rowe and Jessica Schlupp-Taylor. Steve Rowe is the founder of Lucent Financial Planning and an award-winning independent financial planner. He helps you to use your money and have a great life. Jess Schlupp-Taylor is a psychologist supporting people through change, challenges, and forks in the road of life. Together, they will help unblock the sludge in your mind, stopping you from achieving financial and psychological happiness.
Welcome to the first episode of Juggling Mind and Money with me, Steve Rowe, and
me, Jessica Schlupp-Taylor.
We're going to go through today, explain what we are going to do in this podcast series, which is going to be great. We're going to be talking about the mind.
And the money.
And the money. That was slick, baby.
I am slick.
We're going to be so good
Until
at this.
I'm bumpy.
We're going to be talking about the mind and the money. So how the mind affects your financial life, and similarly, how your financial life can affect your mind. Because it's all linked, isn't it?
It is.
So we're going to try and keep this light-hearted, but we are going to be touching on some pretty heavy subjects. Whenever I say the word heavy, I always think of Nigel Planer in The Young Ones.
Right, I have no idea who Nigel Planer in The
That's
Young
for the
Ones
older
is.
person. Heavy man. We're going to try and keep it light-hearted, but there are going to be some heavy subjects that we're going to talk about. So I think first of all, Jessica, we should talk about how we met and what happened and what you do for my firm, Lucent Financial Planning.
It was COVID.
It was COVID. What, you brought COVID to Lucent Financial Planning?
No, as in it was COVID time, pandemic. I think we met online first.
Well, I sent you a picture of my foot, didn't I?
That was after we'd met, to be fair. We'd had at least 2 interactions by that point
Had
before
we?
I got foot pictures, yeah.
I thought that was the first one.
I don't think we'd met in person,
No.
but we talked before I got foot pictures.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a bad foot.
It's very nice, thanks. So I'd had an operation the year before and I'd went a bit funny, I think. But I only noticed afterwards during lockdown when I felt sad.
So when you say funny, you mean you struggled a bit mentally?
I struggled a bit mentally. I didn't have what you would call a healthy head.
A healthy head.
But it was all right in lockdown because no one did they? And then coming out of that, I thought, if I'm feeling like this, because I am practically the most psychologically sound person in the world.
Yeah.
I thought, if I'm suffering this, other people will be too. And then I started noticing in my clients that they were struggling with certain things. And I thought, I need someone. Who could I get? And who did I find?
Me.
I found you, Jess.
Did you try anybody else first?
Yeah, loads.
Did you?
But they weren't...
Funny.
Well, they didn't like the foot that I sent them. So no one else was interested. I don't think they really got it. But I think you got it straight away. Or were desperate.
Both.
What
Both.
happened? Yeah. And then we met up, didn't we? And then within it's only a few months. Because I remember, because I was on holiday staying at a Bronze Age hut. That's why I sent you a picture of my foot by a fighter.
Who stayed in the Bronze Age hut? Not like a tent thing.
Yeah, a
so-
roundhouse made of straw and mud.
Right, so it was a pretend Bronze Age hut rather than
Well, it wasn't an original one.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
2,000, 3,000
Well, you
years
said
ago.
Bronze Age hut. You didn't say pretend one.
No. Well, it was a mock-up one.
There you go. Mock-up Bronze Age hut.
Yeah.
Got you.
So we were
What
staying
would
there.
make you stay in a Bronze Age hut?
Because it was COVID and you weren't allowed anywhere, were you, with people?
Oh. Google criteria for holiday. Mock-up Bronze Age hut.
But I like history
Okay.
and stuff, and it was my turn to choose holiday. So my wife got
So
dragged
you
along.
did Google that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, Jess, we did that, and then I started thinking about it. We met up, and you started seeing my clients within a few months. By Christmas time, I think it
It was
was.
before Christmas. I think October, November.
Yeah,
On Zoom.
on Zoom, yeah,
The newly discovered Zoom.
as we all did. And then you started coming to my office and seeing our clients there. And what sort of things were you mainly seeing them about?
Things like getting their head around putting parents into care. That's quite a big one. Problems with relationships, that creeps up. Anxiety, very big one. Especially after COVID, I think a lot of people came out of COVID and struggled with anxiety. There's a huge amount of change, and often when we've been through a period of turmoil, we sort of go into survival mode. So during that time, I don't know what that was, but yes. During the time, we survive. So we're okay and our head copes. And it's only afterwards, when things are a bit safer and we feel a bit more comfortable, that our brain says, whoa, you've got to deal with all that stuff now that you've just been through. Like me, homeschooling 3 kids.
Yeah.
My poor kids probably need therapy after that. So there was quite a bit of anxiety around that. Obviously, with the generation of people that use financial planning, generally it's the over 50s, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
Well, that's most of our clients are mainly
over 50s.
50s thinking
So
about
then you've
retiring.
got things like parents dying or illness, health-related issues, getting their head around particular diagnosis and things like that. Sleep. Also, just getting their head
People
around
come
retiring.
to see you about sleep.
Well, that's part of it. They won't say, I've come to see you about sleep. They'll say that they've come to see me because they're worried about something, but part of it will be that they can't sleep.
Yeah.
Or they struggle to sleep.
Yeah.
And then there's lots of people that really struggle with retirement. They want to retire, they want to enjoy retirement, but there's almost a pressure to retire and enjoy it. And what does it look like? So we have to go through
So we notice that a lot, and that's probably the prime reason we refer people to you.
getting people ready for retirement.
Well, just because they're struggling with it, particularly in couples, one really wants to and the other doesn't.
Yes, that happens a lot.
So there's massive tension there, isn't there? And no one likes doing stuff they don't want to.
No, and I find it interesting that people think that they have to do things together, whereas find a solution where actually it can work for both of them.
Yeah. And then, so when these people visit, we've seen the reaction that it has, how much happier they are.
Yes.
Always.
People leave a little lighter. That's what I like to think, is that when people come in to see us or see me, then they leave a little lighter. They feel that the clouds have parted a bit, the sun's come out a bit. And generally they're a bit more hopeful, they're a bit more enthusiastic, and they feel like that they've got a bit more control over their life.
Yeah. And then we notice that when they come and see us afterwards, and they definitely seem more able to make a decision on certain things and more relaxed.
Yeah. Confidence. Sometimes it's confidence, or sometimes it is feeling like they have control, or they're empowered a bit more to be able to make decisions and understand things a bit more.
So I feel that money is a big issue for most people, understanding it, whether you've got enough or too much or not enough. And that's a cause a lot of worries and anxiety. And then I feel we're a great pincer movement, aren't we? Pincer.
Right, yeah.
Where one side we take care of the financial worries, try and take them away. And then on the other side, you deal with the mind.
Yeah, because that's good, because I definitely do not deal with the finances. Your stuff requires attention to detail.
Yeah.
That's not me. But yes, you deal with the financial stuff, take away the worries there, and then I deal with the mindset around life.
Yeah.
And then the two merge together to create much happier people in general.
That's it. We're like the Avengers or something, where we come together.
The Avengers of the financial planning world.
Is that the right analogy?
What would your superhero costume look like?
Really, really tight.
I think I'd want mine to be like a blow-up one. You know, like one of those sumo wrestler blow-up ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why... Well, that's the great outcomes that us working together has had. But when I was initially looking, I was just looking for some help because I thought some people had some issues. And I don't like it. when they're in my office with issues because I want to help them. And your first reaction when we started talking about this was to think, I'm Wendy from Billions.
Yeah, Wendy from Billions is quite cool, but she's a bit harsh at times. I don't think I'm quite as cutthroat as Wendy. Perhaps a bit fluffier.
You do fairly routinely point out my failures. Do you know that?
But you're not a client. So I can take...
Was that okay?
You can handle it. I only have banter with people that I love.
Oh, I love you too, Jess.
Thanks.
Thank you. So I'm an independent financial planner, and I help people with their pension investments, but to get them to where they want to be. Describe exactly what you do, Jess.
Oh, that's too difficult. I'm a psychologist.
Yeah.
And I work with people in a range of different ways, from NLP, hypnotherapy, CBT, psychotherapy.
What are all those things?
But really?
What's NLP?
Oh, neuro-linguistic programming. So basically using your brain and language to then change your behaviour and change your mindset.
Is that where you robotise me?
It's where used car salesmen get little old ladies to buy some Mazda coupe and you go away with a car that you really don't want because they've NLP'd you. It's got a bad reputation. If it's used in the wrong hands, quite dangerous. But used in the right hands, it's really powerful for the best stuff. That's one of the ways that people leave feeling better, is because there's little things and the way that we use language to make people lifted, to make people recognise that, oh, there's a possibility. Oh, there's a door there that I didn't realise was there that I could look through. There's an option. There's lots of different ways that they can help themselves. But it goes under the radar.
And is that like how you talk to yourself?
I do have to do quite a lot on myself, if I'm honest. Yeah, I have my own struggles that it's a good job that I am qualified, because a lot of the techniques I will use on myself. When I do hypnotherapy with clients, I often find that I'll go down with them. And then once I've got them down...
you self-hypnotise?
Well, once I've got them down, then I have to sort of have a conversation with myself to say, you can't stay down here, Jess. And then I have to get on with the next bit, but I have to come back up again. As soon as I mention hypnotherapy, I start yawning.
Mentioned this before,
haven't I?
No.
It's so lovely, but that's because I know that it's
Not
lovely.
that you self.
And sometimes when clients have had a few sessions of hypnotherapy, they come in, they sit on a chair or they sit on the bed, and they'll start going to sleep. And I'm like, whoa! You can't sleep yet. Let's talk about some stuff and at least pretend we're going to do some work. But they just like being under. It's such a lovely, peaceful place to be. And actually, some of the people that benefit most from hypnotherapy are my neuroatypical clients, autistic and ADHD clients.
Okay.
And I think it's because it gives their brain quiet.
Yeah.
That they don't normally
Shut
experience.
the noise out.
Yeah, they're quite difficult to come round. They're just too happy down there.
And CBT?
Cognitive behavioural therapy.
Not yet.
So using our thoughts and behaviours and our behaviours and our thoughts to control each other. It's not for everybody. It involves quite a bit of homework, and not everybody's in the right place to do CBT. But a lot of your clients, I use CBT quite a lot because they're still capable of focusing on the work they want to do and they want to see the change. So it's either mainly talking therapy, hypnotherapy, and a bit of CBT thrown in there.
So CBT, how I understand it, is like thinking yourself better. Is that a good way of describing it, or is it terrible?
No, because it can also be acting yourself better. It can be behaving yourself better, because it takes into account not just thoughts, but behaviours. And so because thoughts can influence behaviours and behaviours can influence thoughts, it works both ways. But yeah, there is an element of thinking yourself better and finding ways to think differently so that then it improves.
Yeah. Improves your mood.
Improves your mood, improves your...
Decision-making.
Lots of stuff. Concentration, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about others, how we react to stuff. That's a really big one. Perhaps someone gets really angry because their neighbour's built a fence that's too big, and every time they're in the house they look out the back window, oh my God, the rage. And so it's getting them to change that mindset around it. So instead of seeing that big fence is something that creates and triggers rage, we get it to trigger peace.
Well, let's talk about that then, because I suffered this last weekend.
Oh, really?
And it ruined my weekend.
Just a weekend, though.
Well, Friday afternoon till Tuesday, I was grumpy.
Why?
Well, I think the way I reacted to something.
Something
that I perceived was happening to me that may or may not have been. It's all resolved now, I'm fine.
I think that's too vague for people. I think you're going to leave everybody wanting to go. So what was it, Steve? What was
I
it?
just thought I was being ripped off on something.
Yeah.
And I thought I was being...
taken a bit for a ride.
Yeah, told porkies too. You know, I didn't like it. And it was with someone I trust.
Ooh.
So I was... But it's turned out it's just a misunderstanding, as these things do. But I was just got very in my head about it.
Yeah.
And I kept drifting off thinking about it instead of doing
Addressing
brilliantly at the pub quiz that I was at. So I let my team down.
Oh.
Didn't answer as many questions correctly as I should have. And you can never get that time back, can you, Jess?
No.
Never.
So, yes, if you had CBT, but part of it is recognising when your head does go down the rabbit warren.
Oh, yeah, I knew.
That's one of the first steps, is recognising when your head is not quite functioning as you'd like it to, and it is getting in the way of you enjoying your life or you enjoying the experiences that you want to get something out of. Because a lot of the time, people, victim elders, can become obsessed about something and it's in their head, and perhaps it can be all absorbing, but they don't realise that it's an issue. I think you have to do both.
That was terrible.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. Anyone listening to this that wasn't around in the early 90s...
One foot in the grave. Google it.
One foot in the grave will not understand that. Which is pretty much every day at my office. I'll mention an 80s sitcom.
I
Crickets.
use the term or the phrase, help me, help you. And nobody knows what film it's from.
I can't think of it now.
And then it just makes
What
me look
is
like
it?
a complete plonker. Am I allowed to say that?
Absolutely.
Help me, help you.
What
Help
film is
me, help you. It goes on for like 2 minutes.
Who is it?
Jerry Maguire.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's awesome. So actually, with some of my clients that aren't prepared to do their homework or can be a bit stuck, obviously laughter's a good way to unstick. So I'll send them a clip of the Jerry Maguire sketch.
Not the bit about the average head weighs 8 pounds.
No.
That's in Jerry Maguire.
Is it?
Yeah, why would you not remember that?
Don't know. That did it make me laugh? If it didn't make me laugh, I've got to feel something to go into my memory bank.
Anyway, Jess, we're drifting off here.
Right, get back on target.
Although it is very important. So, so I wanted to help my clients see things a bit better. And I've been listening to, there's a lot in financial planning now about behavioural biases and how that affects your investment returns, how the human affects the return of investment by their actions and their reactions. And the statistics behind it are quite massive, so we want to focus on it. But my principal concern is just helping people. Don't like when they're sad.
Well, you like your clients to get the best out of life, which is awesome, because that's why I'm part of it. It's not you want your clients to invest the most money so that you get the most returns. It is about allowing your clients to have their best life possible, which...
Because we only got one, right?
We only have one.
Maybe.
And it's only a certain amount of time. Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. But I think
But even if we have multiple lives, surely we want the best out of each of them.
Let's still have a nice one.
Yeah. Don't waste it.
No. Now, there's always going to be horrendous stuff in life at points, isn't there?
There is.
Like people you love dying. Anyone dying's pretty horrendous.
Even a pet. Let's not underestimate it. I know you're not big on dogs.
No.
But
you're not supposed to do this in the first episode.
Oh,
Let's get it to 3.
All right. We'll leave dogs.
3. Listeners, I don't mind pets. I'm not cruel to them. Let's just get this out in the open.
He tolerates them.
I just don't love them.
Not like me.
No. Yeah. So the reason we started this podcast...
You just used the word so.
It's because I was thinking of dog hair. Because when people mention pets, all I see is these dog hairs floating into my chili con carne.
Don't get a golden retriever then.
I'm not ever going to get a dog.
Eleanor has.
My wife's a dog sitter, so we have 6 a day at my house. 40 different dogs a week. And I can't stand them. That's not fair, is it?
That's not fair.
Anyway, this isn't a therapy session.
Okay.
This is explaining why therapy is important.
Go back again then. Let's get back on track.
So I did a talk in September to 250 financial advisors.
250 financial advisors?
Yeah.
Who even knew there was that many?
You know, well, there ain't that many. I think there's 40,000.
40,000?
Something like that. 35.
They can't all be very good then.
In the country. Well, there's going to be different levels.
Yeah.
So I was asked to do a talk, which obviously is very nerve-wracking, to 250 people who are your peers. I didn't really know any of them, so I wasn't that scared.
Did you imagine them all naked?
No, absolutely not.
I don't think that would calm me down either.
The average age of a financial advisor is something like 57.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
So I wasn't imagining 250.
Yeah, but you don't want to get excited, do you?
Fellas.
It's just basically, it's one of those tricks that people say to use, which is possibly the most absurd trick ever. I don't know anyone that's that comfortable in a room with 250 naked people, but people still say it.
57-year-old fellas, anyway. So I did that, and then I explained about you, Jess. I said I got my own Wendy from
Secret
Billions. Yeah. And I put a big picture of you up, didn't I?
Probably. I think the one you were going to use was
Yeah.
horrendous. So
You
I
got
said,
the
no, not that one.
Because we also take our clients on walks, and Jess goes along, and you was out in your big walking boots, weren't you, covered in mud? I think.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, the feedback I've had from those financial advisors that witnessed my speech about you and what a great idea you are has been amazing.
That's awesome. I haven't had any DMs yet.
Haven't you?
No
I
one
told
slid
you,
into them.
We can get that to happen.
Yeah, it's not difficult. My name is pretty easy to Google.
It's not hard to say, though.
It's a bit hard to say.
Come on, say it.
So it's easier if you use my full name. So if you say Jessica Schlupp-Taylor, it flows okay. But if you try to say Jess Schlupp-Taylor, there's a lot of shh in there. So, which is why everyone knows me as Jess. But if somebody says, who are you? I'll say Jessica Schlupp-Taylor. Otherwise, it just blurs into one.
The voiceover fella found that really hard.
Yeah.
Jess Schlupp-Taylor.
Yeah, so you have to enunciate both.
I don't know the words there. Okay, so I said so. There's been a lot of interest in you and us and how we work together.
Well, I think it's quite new. I don't think there's any other financial planning company that offers their clients somebody to help them get their head around their life and get the most out of their life.
I don't think there is. This has blown people's minds.
I know, which don't you think is weird that it's not? Because companies that are based around giving people maximum opportunity to live their life with financial freedom, and yet their heads could be trapped.
Exactly. And that's stopping them achieving what they want to. And it is weird to us because it's been 3 or 4 years, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what? I couldn't believe it when I looked back at how long it had been.
Yeah.
I was thinking year, 2 years, like 4 years.
Bloody hell, it's like purgatory. That's what you thought, wasn't it? Yeah. So it's quite a long time, so it's just normal to us. But it's not normal. And even there's some quite well-respected groups within the financial...
Bigger names in financial planning.
Yeah, like they're trendy.
The beasts.
Their names. Famous.
Yeah.
Right. Who act in this psychological area and talk about it a lot. They hadn't heard of anyone that does this.
No, because Wendy from Billions, really, she could have been used to look after their clients. But even Billions didn't come up with that one.
No, just themselves.
Yeah, selfish.
What did she do? She was trying to get them to make massive trades and be
make
relaxed
massive
about
money.
it. Yeah, for billions. So, to the next section.
Next section.
Diagnose Steve.
Diagnose Steve.
Diagnose Steve. There's obviously something wrong with him. Jess delves into what it could be.
Now, every week we're going to do Diagnose Steve, and this isn't going to be that I am massively affected by all these different things. I might be by some of them, but I'm going to talk about some symptoms, and then Jess is going to help understand what they may be, and then maybe talk about solutions to help calm them down a bit.
Yeah. Although, let's just clarify, in my job, I would never diagnose anybody.
No.
So my job is not to diagnose, it's to help and support. And if I feel that they might be erring towards certain mental health problems and there are other ways that we can deal with them, I might send them, signpost them to the GP or a psychiatrist if it's quite significant, or signpost people to get assessments for various traits. But I would never say, you have this or you have that, because that's for the GP and the psychiatrist to do, really.
Exactly. And I know your professionalism in that area can never be doubted.
Never be doubted.
However, this is a
for the point of the podcast,
and it's for entertainment.
Let's have some fun.
And we're trying to keep it light-hearted. So, well, I can't help you at that point. I would need you to refer you to another professional.
Is that not going to work on a podcast?
No, that's just not interesting.
Okay.
That's well boring.
But we get to diagnose Steve on a weekly basis.
Diagnose Steve, right?
Okay.
So that's what we're going to do. Now, today, we're just going to talk about anxiety.
Well, you've already told me what I'm going to diagnose you with.
Well, I know, but we're not doing it today.
Oh, okay.
That's a general thing.
Oh, right.
So, because anxiety, money worries, it's called money worries for a reason, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all experience anxiety, worry in some form or another. And I would think, I don't know, that manifests itself a lot in the people that come to see you.
Yes, they don't. The money worries is, I suppose it's different for all different people, whether you've got too much or too little or just enough. You can still, and that's the point of anxiety, is that it kicks in regardless or not whether you have a true reason to worry, although there is an argument that there's never a good reason to worry.
What's that?
Well, if it's within your control and you can act and do something about it, then take action to then stop worrying about it. Because worrying doesn't achieve anything. Anxiety doesn't achieve anything. It was introduced to us as a species so that we could run away from the saber-toothed tigers, so that we could react to, I don't know, the forest fire and leg it.
Saber-toothed tigers were actually, they pounced. They were an ambush predator. So you didn't really need to run away from them.
Because you'd already been killed.
Them. Yeah.
Yeah, but then we could fight them off, surely.
Maybe.
So yeah, fight, flight, freeze.
I just want
So
to
you
be
might not
ecologically
flight.
correct. That's all.
Okay. What about other predators from the Stone Age or the Bronze Age? Because you like the Bronze Age.
Love the Bronze Age.
Anyway, they were there when our lives. It was introduced to the human race so that we can survive, and when our lives were under threat. But now our lives aren't under threat, but our brains still find ways to make it feel under threat. And it's not productive. I tend to think about anxiety, helpful or unhelpful. Yeah. So we don't think about good or bad thoughts. Is it helpful or unhelpful? And if those thoughts are unhelpful, generally that's when it gets into anxiety, when it stops you from doing things or it gives you more challenges than solutions.
So helpful then, that would be like if it forced you or made you do something to make
you
it
take
better.
Action. Absolutely. Oh, I'm worried about that. You know what? I've got a presentation tomorrow. I can't sleep tonight because I haven't written it yet. So therefore, my anxiety's kicked in. You know what? I better get on and write that presentation. Helpful. Unhelpful. You've already written your presentation. You've practiced it loads of times. You've already nailed it. Lying in bed and start panicking, and all it's doing is eating into your sleep. Unhelpful. In that case, let's find some tools to overcome that.
And then I kind of notice this a lot, that what people are most worried about, their worries make it more likely that that's going to happen.
Yes, so that would be manifestation, where you assume or you almost predict that it's going to happen. So then you almost create the behaviours so it is more likely to happen.
Yeah. So kind of like if you're worried about something but it's unhelpful, that makes you more stressed. Like if you're just worried about your health,
Yeah.
it makes you more worried. That makes you more stressed, which is
And the
actually
problem with-
damaging for your health.
So I see anxiety, I just said the word so. I see anxiety as an anxiety staircase, if you like.
Okay.
And everyone starts at the bottom with any particular topic. So let's take money.
Right.
You're a kid, you don't really have any money worries, you're not bothered about it. But then perhaps one day you go into the shop and you go to pay for your chocolate bar, but instead of having 80p, because that's how much they are now, you've only got 70p. And you get to the checkout, not knowing this, and suddenly the woman says, oh no, it's 80p, and you look down, oh, there's only 70p. And then your little heart starts racing and it creates a response. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll just leave it then. And you run out because anxiety's kicked in and we've escaped it. Now that what happens then is we take a step up on our anxiety staircase. And then what happens is that something else happens to do with money. And it could be that, I don't know, you get a bill through and it says you haven't paid the last bill or whatever it was. Perhaps you've just missed it and it's like this threat and you get this anxious response to it and oh God, and you try and escape that too and you take another step up the anxiety staircase. And then what happens is that you can get bigger and bigger responses to smaller and smaller things because you keep going up. So when you come for therapy, what we do is we teach you, instead of going up the anxiety staircase, the tools and the tricks to start coming back down it. So rather than fight, flight, freeze when in the situation, getting to peace in the situation, and then you can come back down to reassure your brain that you're not under threat.
And do some people on their anxiety staircase, does it become an anxiety escalator where they just so used to getting that way that they kind of running up it?
Oh, well, obviously, depending on the situation and depending on almost the levels of incident, people can go up it so much faster, and you might go from being completely at peace about something like money, never having a money worry, to then being absolutely panicked about it. Perhaps you've been made redundant and that could be a real trigger. So you've almost jumped up half the staircase or taken the escalator.
Okay, I just want to go back to choco inflation.
Choco, oh yeah, 80p for chocolate bar.
It's a nightmare.
Well, they just buy a 4-pack instead. They're
How
smaller.
can anyone relax? But bad news, because I've read an article recently about how chocolate prices are going to go up a lot due to global warming.
That is bad news.
Affecting
I wouldn't mind
crops.
it if it was because they were actually paying the farmers a bit more.
No, it's just you can't grow enough. That's expected.
Sad times for chocolate.
Well,
but I'm on a healthy eating effort, so that's not a bad thing.
You're doing very good, Jess.
Yeah, day 3, smashing it.
So one example that I encounter with people's money, they're worried about investing because they fear that they could lose all their money.
Yeah.
Right, and there's lots of stuff in the media about losses on investments. But then actually what they're worried about is more likely to happen if they leave it in their savings account, say.
Yep.
Because those savings accounts aren't going to earn as much as choco inflation. Okay, so things are going up in price. Money's just about what you can buy with it, right? So if you can buy less with it the following year, you're poorer, even though the figure is the same.
So if inflation goes up by 4%, but your savings account only pays 3%, you are poorer the next year than you were.
Yeah, because you can't buy as much chocolate anymore.
Yep.
Right, even though the figure is the same, and that makes you feel comfortable.
So really we need to look for investments that beat inflation.
That's it, and maintain the value of your money.
Or increase it. Let's increase it, Steve.
Let's go increase.
I like the idea of increasing my money.
But there's the worry of losing means you're actually more likely to in the long run.
Got you.
Okay, so that's some of the things that...
Why? Because they're more risk averse, or...
Well, if you're worried about...
Because they procrastinate.
Well, lots of reasons. Some people won't jump in because it doesn't feel the right time to invest. But when is the right time?
normally when you tell them it's the right time, I would say. You've had a few clients I know that procrastinated and missed out on some really good opportunities.
Yeah, and they're gone forever.
Yeah, and now they have to work for another 10 years.
It's not that long.
All right, 5
A
years.
fair while.
Sad times.
Yeah.
It's not sad if you love your job.
No. But it's sad if you don't.
It's very sad if you don't.
I know who you're talking about here, and I know they don't. They don't love it.
They don't love their job.
Yeah. That is a terrible thing. So worry stops you doing things
Yeah.
that you should do to get to what you want to achieve.
Yeah, in money or in life. You know, one of my favourite phrases is, do you want to do it? Yes. Are you scared? Yes. Do it scared. I love that. Do it scared.
Yeah, when I was doing that speech, Sarah told me that.
I love do it
Feel
scared.
the fear, do it anyway.
Yes. Do it. I tell that to my daughter. I have regular phrases that I blurt out with my daughter, like, worry about that hill when we have to run up it. And now, as soon as I say worry about, she says, Mum, not again. Leave off with the hill.
Shut up, Mum.
Do it scared is becoming one of those phrases that she hates.
That's it. So these are the sorts of things we're going to talk about. We're going to get real down and deep in these and look at specific examples where people's money and therefore life has been affected.
Yeah.
All by what's coming from in their mind. And that's okay, but we just want to know what's happening in your mind so we can help you make better decisions. And then you may be happier.
Yeah. And some people can still make decisions but still not be happy, because even if you have the option to spend all your money or to enjoy your money, some people have blockers to stop them. Let's give them freedom. You give them financial freedom and I gave them head freedom.
Whoop whoop.
Put it together.
Dream team.
Pince movement.
Avengers.
Me in the blow-up suit and you in an incredibly tight one.
What's not to love?
Exactly.
No one's ever going to see us again, are they?
This is the business model for all financial planners for the future.
I think it absolutely is.
But I'm amazed that more people don't. I just think, why would you not care for your clients? You care for their money, but their money is there, and the reason we earn money is not because we like counting pound coins. It's because we want to have a fulfilled life. We want to be able to enjoy life. And if your clients can't enjoy life, then surely you're doing a bad job.
That's it. We want to make them happy. Happy, smiling little...
That sounds like the Nescafe advert.
Is it?
We want to make them happy. What's that advert? Wasn't it Nescafe?
I don't know, mate.
We want to make them... We don't like change, do we, Deirdre? That was Mellow Birds or something.
We fear change.
Do they even make Mellow Birds anymore?
I don't know. That is proper old.
That
They
is,
don't.
isn't it? I quite like Mellow Birds, though, because it was a smoother coffee.
You'll still find that in some cafes,
Yeah.
that don't have much footfall.
They should do, because they stock Mellow Birds.
Yeah, but they don't, and no one has it. They get it out of the pantry.
Oh, you mean
Anyway.
because it's 50 years old? Coffee goes off.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mellow Birds. Right. Psychology.
Psychology.
And now for Sockology, where Jess and Steve review types of sock and how your socks affect your mood.
So this is a subject that I was introduced to by Jess. It could only have come from her. Look at that beauty. Tell us about psychology.
So you know I don't like to be sensible all the time. And as a psychologist, you can only become famous and earn huge amounts of money if you have your own theory.
Yeah.
So my theory that should make it past Freud, past Jung, past all the amazing psychologists or people that create their own theories is psychology. And that's basically the theory that you can tell someone's personality by looking at their socks.
Is it? So it's their personality, not how those socks affect their mood.
Both. So I would say it's difficult to analyse somebody based on one day snapshot of socks. But if you based it over, let's say, a week or a month, then you can tell a lot. Because obviously some days we pick socks that reflect our mood.
Yeah.
But if someone's always black and grey, What does it say about the person that has the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday socks?
With where they're actually written on the sock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them. And they wear them on the correct days.
Yes.
My life, I could never do that.
Or what does it say about somebody that's plainly been given those socks but doesn't take any notice and wears them on different days? You can read into all these nuances.
So for psychology, one day I'm going to wear the socks I have where my face are all over them.
That's quite cool.
Yeah,
but what does that say? I mean, it's cool, as in it's cool to analyse that.
Well, I didn't buy them myself.
Much, but then, is it narcissistic to put socks on possibly the least favoured part of the feet, unless you are on OnlyFans, in which case it's pretty popular?
I was bought them by our IT people. And they look really cool because they've got my face on them.
But they had to get your photo from somebody.
I know, I think they got it
Website.
off the website or something, yeah. So, but they just make my feet sweat horrifically.
Oh. I bought my dad's
they're
socks
cheap.
because he wears bright trousers, which is cool. I love that. I once ran a pub and there was a joke about the bloke that was standing there in these stupid pink trousers. And I was like, that's my dad. But he is cool because he wears bright trousers. But he wears good socks, good coloured socks to match the outfit. And I think that's awesome. And my PT back in the day when I could afford a PT, he wears matching socks to his T-shirts. Nice. He's quite anal though. Like they have to be exactly matching. Not just green and green, but sage green and sage green. He takes it to another level. And then my brother wears odd socks and so does his wife. Which...
Is that because laziness impairing them, or is it deliberate?
I think it's, is it part of that? I personally, I don't like the idea of wearing odd socks because the different sensory experiences on both my feet. I feel like I could pick them up.
If one's more padded.
That would just go through my head, or if they stop at different parts of your leg. And yet, him and his wife, and I think their children, are very comfortable wearing odd socks.
I think that's pretty cool.
It's not a bad thing.
No.
It's just a read
Adaptable.
into somebody. You can read into people about socks.
Okay, so we're going to look at this.
But you disappointed me today because you turned up in plain socks.
I'm going on holiday, aren't I? So they're all packed, all my best socks.
Disappointed.
Now, this segment is a bit of light-hearted fun.
Before we move on from psychology...
we're not.
Oh,
I'm still on psychology.
Okay, right.
A bit of light-hearted fun, but it has got real truth in it. But also, we are hoping that the handfuls of listeners that we have will send in some socks.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or even if they don't sing in socks, they can send in photos of them wearing their socks and we could analyse it.
That is an even better idea.
Well, no, because send in socks too,
Yeah,
because
socks.
I really like socks. The cooler, the better. I like the socks that are wacky. Wacky socks. Because then you put them on and they make me smile.
They do make you feel better, don't they?
And underneath like a black suit, I'm wearing Star Wars Chewbacca socks. I grin to myself.
Because they're extra furry.
No, I don't want furry. Just pictures of him.
Oh, right, okay.
But it just makes me smile that I'm not all serious. I have chewy socks on.
Now, I know we're in quite serious professions, but being serious is not our key skill, is it?
It's not, no.
No.
We're not known for our seriousness.
Not really good at that.
I'm also disappointed you didn't turn up in your teddy bear cardigan.
I've got a good range of cardigans. We could have a section on that as well. So, people, this is going to be the format of our podcast. Babbling on, messing around.
It might get a bit more structured.
Yeah. And
a bit more informative.
Yeah. And conducting, but looking at some pretty serious stuff at times.
Yeah.
But we want to make it fun. So thanks for listening. I'm expecting this to go through the roof with tens of handfuls of listeners over time.
Be happy with tens of handfuls.
That'd be awesome. And a pair of socks every
or
couple
even
of months.
just a few people that have a bit of a giggle on your dog walk.
Yeah. But on the serious point, if it helps anyone feel a bit better or notice things about them and their behaviour which could help them, that is going to be awesome, isn't it?
That would be pretty awesome.
If that helps one person, this is worthwhile.
That's good. We like that.
Oh, yeah. Ooh,
But could we help?
tingly.
But could we help a few more?
Yeah, but one's enough.
Yeah, one is enough.
But thousands.
Although I've got no desire to be an influencer.
Why not?
It's not really my bag.
Can't you NLP them on TikTok?
I'll get them all wearing Chewbacca socks.
Like that.
Yeah. You know I've made it as an influencer when the world is wearing Chewbacca socks.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to psychology.
Me too.
The next
I'm
episode.
looking forward to you making a bit more of an effort.
Yeah, I will, I promise.
Okay.
Right. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll be back soon.